Right then, let's do this. Hello folks, it calls 7:30 on a Thursday. That can mean only one thing. I'm in the studio. I've got Fred with me. How are you doing? Now, we have been busy bees all day. Yeah, just so, we only finished about half hour before the show, didn't we?
We beached.
We beached, we literally beached. Yeah, we have been busy working on beaches.
Indeed.
And actually, we can show you that because it's Tuesday's video.
Yeah.
So, let me switch over to the desk. Yeah. This is what we've been working on, beach scenes. So, that's our European beach. It's really good, you know, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go down to the water line down at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
This is our Pacific, yeah, with our pinkish corals on. It'll look a lot better on the videos, guys. The colours are a lot better on the videos. And then we did two more, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did a muddy estuary. Yeah, which is that one. The colours for that. And we did the, the volcanic sands of Iwo Jima. So, we have been very busy bees. And we finished about half an hour ago. Just in time for the live show. But it does actually mean that's a slight problem. I forgot what to do on the live show. So let's see who's here. If you're here, say hello. Wish upon a burning zombie. I know I'm getting older when my fingers hurt this much after a day of creating terrain. Oh, I tell you what, some of the times I walk away from here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Backache. Yeah.
Backache. Yeah. Working over this deck.
What I always do after a day of painting, when you spend all day grasping a brush or a pencil or something like that, and your hands clamped up all day like that. At the end of the day, what I tend to do is I do these like hand exercises.
Yeah. Just to loosen them.
Just to loosen up your fingers. Yeah, but like a piano player or a guitarist. And it's a good idea because it really eases up your fingers after them being.
Yeah, it's quite. You get lost in it, don't you?
Oh, you do. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're lost in time. And you don't feel the pain or the cramping until you finish.
Yes.
And then
once you're in the zone, your body gets put to one side.
And then once you're out of the zone, your body comes back with a vengeance.
It says hello.
Yeah, I walk in. I walk into a home like, run me back, Kez. Now, just to let you know, there might be a little. Might have to cut the show short. Kez's dad's been rushed into hospital. I've just left a message for her and that sort of stuff because she's at work and I can't get hold of her. So. I doubt I'm going to have to. Yeah, hopefully she'll be able to handle it. But if family emergencies kick in, guys. But other than that, we're just going to potter along. And I've been trying to think what to do for this show. Yeah, and I'm thinking perhaps some palm trees. Because you know how I like palm trees. Wait until they just hurt. Mate. Story of my life. The older you get, I realised why my dad was so grumpy.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I feel grumpy.
Oh, well, yes, it's one of the things about age, I think, as you get older.
I've been in Stone all day in the museum. Stone is in Stokestone, mate. That's just down the road. Hey, Pat. Loads of people in. I see people are getting their notifications this time round, which is a good thing. Right, palm trees. I'm going to see what palm trees I've got and what palm trees I need to do. I got that one. Buddha. I need some paints. I need those. Palm trees everywhere in here at the moment. Let me just check over these. I think these are done. We might need a little browning around some of the leaves. But I do believe... Yeah, they're okay. I think they're okay, so it's just these. Palm trees.
I'm looking through to a shelf at the back there. It's like a jungle.
It's literally like a jungle.
The whole shelf is like a jungle, yeah.
Does look good though, doesn't it? It just disappears into the green.
It does literally look like a jungle through a window, yeah.
Yeah, in Stoke. All right. I didn't realise there was a museum in Stoke. Just one for today. Thank you, Mr. Muffin. Hey, Pagan. No, I didn't know there was a museum in Stone. What's it a museum of?
No, I'm not sure about that. I don't know Stone very well, so not surprised if I don't know.
Most of these have had the browning done. They've been yellowed. They haven't. They have. You can tell the subtle shades in between the drab green, the base, and the lighter. You should be able to anyway.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just these that I need to yellow up. Thanks for the tip, sir. Very welcome. I've been planning on doing some drawing whilst watching the stream, but my cat has parked herself on my lap, so I'm relaxing with the stream instead. That sounds perfect. Yeah, so right, let me bring up the watch at the desk screen so you can see. Look at that.
Ooh.
It looks rather tropical, doesn't it?
It looks impressive.
Yeah. All I'm going to be doing is the browning around the tip. So if I bring these up. Yeah, I've been working on these now. The browns around the tips are done. I just need to yellow off the top, of these. So I can potter along and do that, because that's a job that's done. Fred's just keeping me company. Then I'm going to give him a lift home when we're done, because we spent all day today together, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a good one.
Yeah, we got loads done. So those are done. I've got herbs all over my desk now, because they weren't sealed down.
How do you seal them? Do you spray them with acrylic resin?
No, so watered down PVA.
Oh, right.
Yeah, PVA is our choice of sealer, unless it's buildings, in which case we'll go for a spray varnish.
Is that because the resin will dry shiny?
I've never used the resin, to be truthful. I'm not sure if it'd have the same penetration as watered down PVA and soak through.
Oh, right, yeah. No, probably wouldn't, would it?
No, I mean, you can brush it on, but if you think of all the loose flock and that sort of stuff, what you want is a liquid that you can just spray on and will soak through and penetrate.
Yes, and kind of bind it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Those trees look class. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, they're good. Very good. Got a sense of them being bleached in the sun where you've got the brown.
Yeah. I have to literally study these things to figure them out.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to get my chair. Oh, because Mel's getting an old man. Yeah. And I can't see the screen from there, so I need to angle this screen a bit so I can see it.
The war in Burma, the Japanese snipers would hoist themselves up into the tops of the trees and strap themselves in.
Yeah, they used to rope themselves in, didn't they?
They would stay there for days, yeah. Living on Tempe, which is a little block of what do you call
soy.
It's soybean that's been fermented into like a cake.
Yeah.
Very good for you. High protein, no fat.
I'm not sure I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's a duty I'd particularly want to enjoy. You know what I mean?
Been strapped in a tree all day.
Yes, officer. It's just herbs. Yes, it is. I'd love to see a palm tree on fire modelled. I suppose you could do that with a bit of wire wool.
Like Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. What do you call it? They look like Vietnam style trees. These are actually toddy palms, Indian palms they're called. When I first ordered them off the old off the old eBay, I think it was Amazon or eBay or something like that. They turned up and I said the leaves, they don't really look like palm tree leaves,
right?
Because they're quite distinct. And so I went looking, for palm tree colours, because I just thought, well, sod it, bang them out, and I found exactly the right tree. This exact tree, and it is that the style of leaf is from a very specific tree. It's called the toddy palm, or the Indian palm, and it's where the hot toddies came. Because it was the sap of this tree. It's really sugary, and that's what they mixed with the alcohol to make hot toddies.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
But what's really interesting was their native area, is Burma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they grow in Burma. And it's like, I couldn't pick a better palm tree.
Absolutely perfect.
For my build than this palm tree. And it was a fluke, and when it turned up, I thought they were wrong. So I'm counting that as a win.
That's always good when that happens, isn't it? Yeah.
So, George was at the Spode Heritage Centre. You're shitting me, mate. Sorry about my language. You were probably about 50 foot away from the studio today. So my studio is on the Spode site. You will have come in. Who was in security today? It would be Alan and Dan, wouldn't it?
Alan and Dan, yeah.
Because Trev's on nights. So Alan, you would have seen Alan, tall guy with thin hair, and glasses. Or Dan, rather shorter, darkish hair, always wears a beanie hat. George, you were literally the other side of this wall to my studio. Yeah, if I'd have known, you could have come up. I'm expecting the 2 palm tree bases on the white sheet to bend over and Thunderbird 2 to come along. That'd be great. Do you remember the rows?
Yeah.
How they folded?
I remember, yeah.
Go on, how many of us tried to build Tracy Island from that, what you call it? From the... do you remember Blue Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Peter did. You know how they used to do the modelling projects?
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Yeah, they did a Tracy Island made out of toilet rolls and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, my mum made it for me. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think George is kicking himself. Oh, right, guys, I've just got Kez ringing. Are you okay just chatting with these while I step out?
Of course, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, babe.
Well, Mel's making really good progress on his Burma build. Fascinating situation because Burma, being next to India, was obviously India was the next place that the Japanese were going to invade after Burma. So the war in Burma was actually a blocking action to stop the invasion of India in 1941 or 42, I think. So the Burma Belt is a really interesting historical project.
Yeah, it is. What do you call it? Right, Kez has got the message. She's heading up to the hospital now.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah, so she'll keep me updated, but there's not much I can do other than, carry on. Right, guys, so I got my Tracy Island on TV. Did you, 4-star? George is saying, wow, I didn't know, and I watch you every week. Literally, George, we are on the Spode site. You will have seen my studios you pulled onto the site. Is Kat in? Hello, Kat. Kat was late because she was seeing her other live people. Do you know Dave?
Dave
Chicago, yeah,
yes,
what do you call it? He does a live show on a Thursday night with a company called Games Trade Media.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, and every so often we'll raid him, and all my lot will just pile into his room and just like kick. Well, we don't really kick off, but we're afraid to ourselves. What trouble can we get into now? Calm down, Pat. Quick, since Mel isn't, you're all up to trouble, you lot, aren't you? Mel isn't around, so quick, do this, do that. Oh, look at the acrylic liquid coming out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, get me some pigment.
Give it a good shake.
It's not that. These are really heavy. Yeah? Pigments.
Oh,
so they separate like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Who was that? First donation of the night. Remember, guys, I do appreciate it. And what you call it, we are saving up for a big monitor in the studio so I can see the comments without having to reach up to the screen.
Well, let's to buy opera glasses.
Is there cork okay to use for the palm trunk? I haven't used cork for palm trunk, to be truthful. Cork's getting a bit of a rarity. Yeah, if you've got any cork, keep hold of it and only use it for essential modelling. The reason being is the vast majority of our cork bark, comes from Portugal. Yeah, that's where most of the the cork trees are. The problem is they've had massive fires, and most of them have burnt down.
Oh right, yes.
Yeah, so
cork. In Portugal,
yeah, so cork's going to become a bit of a rarity on the market. So I highly recommend that if you've got cork, save it for what your crucial projects.
Out of wine bottles, prosecco bottles. You can always keep those bits of cork as well.
Oh yeah.
They're very useful.
Another one is if you know a shoemaking company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cork in the heels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they always have offcuts of cork.
Yeah.
Always tons of them.
Wow.
Right.
So I suppose it keeps the shoe light.
Yeah, and it's got a sponge in it, isn't it? Corks.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting.
Right, so all I'm doing right now is I've just got a little bit of yellow. You're not going to be able to see that on that camera. A little bit of yellow on there. Yeah, and a little bit of drab green, army green from Army Painter. Yeah, and I'm just going to use that to lighten up the yellow. Yeah, and then I'm going to apply it as a highlight on the top of these. And I reckon to get all these done, I don't know how long it'll take me. It might take me a while, might not. We'll see how we go.
It's kind of fine work, isn't it, actually, to get around all those leaves and...
It is.
Frondy bits.
you do get better at it, Fred. You really do.
Yeah.
It's muscle memory at the end of the day, isn't it? You just keep going until it's... There we are. That's a lovely lighter. See? This is Fred, this is. He's getting me to mix my paint.
That's like the old army saying, if it moves, salute, if it stands still, painted.
That's so true. Right, let me get a decent painting brush. So guys, there is no such thing as too much wine. Too much wine? I don't know. I think there's no... I'm not really a wine person, to be truthful.
Yeah, the only trouble with wine is it's a bit acidic. So if you drink too much wine, you can get like a sour, acid stomach.
Yeah.
That's the only downside to it I can think of, really. Oh, and the hangover.
I mean, me and Kerry are definitely more vodka drinkers.
Yeah, spirits, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like scotch, single malt.
There you are. And Fred knows what he likes.
I like to have a scotch, yeah. It's my favourite drink.
There we are. That's a nice one. Nice brush. Just a simple nail acrylic one. They always work best.
I was thinking with alcohol, a small amount is always better than a large amount, actually. You enjoy a small amount.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Right, my green now, I've highlighted it up. Yeah, it's looking a little bit more limey. It's gone from the drab green, and that's what the yellow does. It warms it up a little, as Fred would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives it that sense of sunlight on the leaves as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually due to a different type of chloroform.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two types of chloroform in leaves. Chloroform alpha and chloroform beta. Yeah, chloroform alpha, will reflect green and red light.
Oh, red, yes.
Yeah, chloroform beta will only reflect green light.
Oh, yeah.
Chloroform beta is what's majority in evergreens, which is why they're always pure dark deep green.
Right, of course they never go brown.
Whereas
red
the
or
deciduous ones,
autumn, yeah.
they change the various colours because the chloroform alpha in that reflects green and red, so you get the yellow spectrums and you get all those colours all the way up to red.
Yes, yes. I've long since, I know for a long time that whenever you're mixing colours for anything that's a natural foliage, you always have to put a little bit of red in the green at some point.
Yeah.
This green's already got a bit of red in it, I can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's a warm green.
Right. I need some inspiration for GCSE exams. Well, Tetris, what GCSE are you doing, mate? Because we've got a university lecturer here, and I used to teach GCSEs, so I'm sure we can help you. Don't you mean chlorophyll? Yeah, chlorophyll, not chloroform. Chloroform's that stuff we used to... No, never mind. That's what Kez used chloroform to kill all the bugs when she was doing a biology degree.
Oh right. Yes.
Yeah, when they were going to do the bug stuff, what she had to do is like basically put them in a jar and put in a bit of cotton wool with chloroform in.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was like, "I can bring it home for you." I'm like, "What have you got planned, woman?" I'll do half of this, then I'll bring it up so you can see the subtle difference it makes. It isn't much, in all honesty, but. And I'm sure Fred will attest to this.
I can see the difference, yeah.
Yeah, it is the subtle changes in colour that make things look more realistic, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes, yes. Variations, nature is infinitely complicated. So, no two leaves in nature are exactly the same.
What brand of paint, Watch What Wish is asking? I'm using Army Painter at the minute, which is, it's an acrylic paint, and it's a miniature painting range. I do use a lot of house paints and stuff like that. I do use normal acrylics. I've got some oil pastels down there, Fred, to be truthful.
Yeah.
Never really used them. I had a dabble years ago and then just canned them off because I couldn't get used to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you fancy giving us a bit of a masterclass with using oils and stuff?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Would you guys like that? Because, I mean, he is an oil painter.
That's that's the thing I do, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to know more about oils than, any of us.
Well, the nice thing about oil paint actually is that really it's the same pigment as an acrylic paint, as in any other paint. It's just a different vehicle, different medium. But it's
what is the medium in oils? Because I mean, they say oils, but I mean, what is the actual medium in oil paints?
It's linseed oil, which is from the flaxseed plant, so it's flax oil basically, which you can eat. So it's edible.
Really?
Yeah. It doesn't taste very nice, but you can eat it.
But you've had it, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Right, very quickly, just to show you the difference of adding that sort of lighter, limey green on. Yeah, if you notice, Yeah, you should. This is the one I've done. It should appear like it's got a much lighter top.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's coming through on the screen because I've only got a little small monitor. Yeah. -1 to seal. Right, so that one's done. Drop that in there.
Yeah, the beauty of that now is you're getting a variation between the light yellowish green leaves on the top and the browner leaves underneath, with the transition of the green, the base colour in between.
Well, what I'll do is I'll move those over to there so you guys can see a little bit better. And what I'll do is through what is it? It is the miracle of technology. Yeah, what I can do is go to properties. Yeah, configure the video and go to zoom.
Zoom in, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go any more than that. Right, guys, that should give you a little bit closer to what I'm working so you can see it a bit better for you. Yes, YouTube notifications, they're an interesting beach. Beach? You see what I've been thinking about. They're an interesting... YouTube's just playing up lately. Right, so my dishwater's out of the way. Shouldn't be focusing on that now. Yeah, fingers crossed. We're back in the saddle. So, right. So basically, I'm just getting my green, yeah, on my palette here, and I am just working on the top surfaces, the stalks. Yeah, so I'm working on the top surfaces, the stalks, and dragging it out towards the ends of the fronds. I'll get this live streaming right one day. I've got custom graphics for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now we're using the Sunday night graphics because I did them late last night after I finished my editing. It was about midnight.
Right.
Yeah, and I forgot to put them on a pen stick or my Google Drive to actually bring in the studio, which is a real git because I was like, I spent probably about half an hour, yeah, after midnight doing it for today, and then forgot it for today.
Forgot it. Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it, that sort of stuff. Wow, it pops. It certainly does pop. I didn't just...
Yeah. Makes it look live, doesn't it? Vibrant, like it's living.
I've started... There's this weird thing, yeah. When I started doing terrain, yeah, I painted terrain to look like terrain. Yeah, and basically what I mean by that is there was already a style. You know what I mean? A look to it. Yeah, and I'm painted to match that.
Yeah.
And over time, I've come to realise that most terrain isn't painted anywhere near what it should be painted like. Yeah, and what I mean by that is, yeah, that we'll get the position right eventually. Yeah, it's like the greys and all that sort of stuff. For example, I've done rock faces for perhaps 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a monotone grey. Yeah, and it's only recently I've started throwing a little bit of yellow in, or a little bit of green, or a little bit of red, and changing the grey slightly.
Yes.
And they look far more realistic. And it's only because I've started using more real life references.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, they call it living rock, don't they? Actually, they say cut out of the living rock, and in a sense, rock is living in a sense because it's
go on, you're going to have some biologists in here who are going to be like, oh yeah, Fred, explain that one to me. In fact, Kez would be like, oh yeah, Fred, come on, explain that one.
Well, when you think about it, it's living in the sense that it is changing all the time. It erodes.
It does.
So it's not completely static as we imagine. It's got a life on a much longer sense of scale than we have. So
true, yeah.
Tectonic plate movement might take 10,000 years.
But it is moving.
Yeah, so it's moving and yeah, in a sense breathing.
Yeah. Is all this beach terrain like the snow fort you did? I'm not actually doing with the snowboard. That was the 2x2 project. Yeah, which was focused on snow. This isn't a 2x2 project, but over the past sort of year, I've sort of made... I'm not going to call it a resolution, because you never get anywhere with resolutions. Yeah, but I've sort of called it more like the idea of this is an area I want to get better at. Yeah, and so I've been doing a lot of beaches, a lot of water, you know. I mean, when it comes to rocks and when it comes to making trees and stuff like that, I can knock it out of the park most of the time, quite comfortably.
Yeah.
I've got my techniques down that I like and I'm happy with, and they produce good results. Or I'm happy with them, you know what I mean? Yeah. But when it comes to the water, yeah, it's always one of those that I don't feel comfortable with it. Yeah. The end result, I always feel like I should have done that. I should have done that. And water's tricky with it being resin, because you'll know from when we did our pours and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We don't get second chances.
No, it's just.
You know what I mean? You can't,
shot,
unlike with your painting, you can't come in and layer over it.
Right. Yeah.
And so that it's a lot of pressure on you actually to get it right.
To get it right the first time. Yes. A lot of painters actually will put a load of paint on, then scrape it all off and put it all on again. Rather than just overpaint it, it's better to scrape it off and paint it on again.
Scrape it off and paint.
Yeah.
Now you're quite strange with your painting, because you don't layer it, do you? You literally paint the colour you want in the place that you want.
Pretty much, yes. 90% of the time. I don't always get it right though. I mean, I do have to scrape a bit off sometimes. When we Swan Morton.
Yeah, we Swan Morton. Yeah, palm trees are his nemesis, and he will conquer them. I will.
Yes.
I will produce the most beautiful model palm tree you have ever seen.
Yeah, I think you already
and then
do.
die.
They're really coming, really coming along.
No, what you call it? Modelling can go really quite far, to be truthful, Fred. You know, it can go ridiculously far. And so, let's get a little bit of colour on these. No one's going to see it. It's like when you do this, yeah? I've got actual coconut fibre glued
I see it,
to the base of the frond of the coconut. Yeah, just as you do. A little bit of coconut fibre up there. Yeah. No one will ever see it. Ever. So
but it does make a difference.
It does.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, it's like, why do you paint the legs of a pilot in a watch model airplane?
Right, yes.
No one's going to see them.
No.
But, you know, we still paint them.
We still do it, yeah. That reminds me of the very first time I ever went to Glastonbury Abbey.
Yeah.
Which is a ruin, and parts of the building that would never have been visible when it was built actually have really ornate decorative work in the cavity wall. So they'd done that just for the joy of doing it, because they knew nobody would ever see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this because I'm doing it. The thing is, that was when it was a calling almost, wasn't it?
Yes. It was.
You know, the local labourers, they were doing it for Christ, and they were doing it for...
Well, look, yes, they thought that even if we couldn't see it, God could.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, they're dedicated, very dedicated, yeah.
Are your palm trees nutless, or will you be putting coconuts on them? No coconuts on these, because these aren't coconut palms. They're Indian palms or toddy palms, and they didn't have coconuts on them. Yeah. Also, if I do put coconuts on them, they will be green, not hairy brown ones.
That's
yeah.
the colour
I know. The grief I got over that was phenomenal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Then again, it serves me right.
Well, it's an easy thing to overlook, though. That.
We know the fibre's there. Yeah, Gunter, you know the fibre's there. George is saying, so you're enhancing your skills. Yeah, very much so, mate. Water-wise and beach-wise and coastline-wise, yes. I think I keep umming and ahhing with this idea of going back and revisiting my D-Day board.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as a build. Yeah, but before I do it, I want to be able... Because the things I didn't like about my D-Day build was, the beach and the water. The cliffs, the land, the bunkers, all that stuff. I knew it inside out because it's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But the beach and the water I struggled with. They still came off, pretty damn good.
They look good to me.
Yeah. They did come off good in the end, but I was nowhere near as comfortable with them. You know, I was going in and experimenting a lot, finding them. When I found something that, that works enough, just going with it. Yeah, and I want to revisit that with the same knowledge and ability on the beach and the water that I had on the headlands and the rocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So sometimes photography is very good because nature is so complicated that if you take reference photographs of things, they can be very useful as an archive to look at.
Yeah.
Because
Google is your friend on that case, isn't it?
Oh, Google's brilliant. Yeah, no two trees are alike. No two beaches are alike. Everything's different everywhere you go. So there's those small variations, individualize the work that you're doing. And there's small observations. Those infinitely small differentials between one tree and another, between one, part of a landscape and another. People actually see that. Even though they don't realise they're seeing it, they do see it.
You'd be surprised what people can pick up on. People see.
We all instinctively know when something's wrong.
Do you know why that is?
Because I suppose we're programmed to process everything the way that it is.
It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, when we were on the Serengeti, when we looked at nature and something appeared wrong, there would be a predator.
No,
yeah. So it was our way of spotting that bush doesn't look right.
Yes.
And that's why making terrain can actually be such a challenge. Yeah, because you are actually competing against this instinctual thing to know what terrain looks like and what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. It's funny, we always know instinctually when something's wrong.
Yeah.
Even though you can't always put your finger on just what it is.
Yeah, you don't know what it is. That's one of the biggest challenges. People don't know. And when they're modelling, it can be a real challenge because they can look at it and instinctually they know it's wrong.
Yeah.
But for the life of them, they cannot see it because they don't actually know the technicalities of why it's wrong, but their subconscious is picking up on something that is wrong.
Yeah.
And quite often it's shadow in the wrong place.
Yeah, shadow in the wrong place, or sometimes just like I say, just the variety of differences between things. If you do too many trees that all look the same, then trees don't look the same in nature.
Yeah, I did the same with the cliffs on with the caves on that piece. On the other side, the caves are too organised.
All right, I'm with you. Yeah. It's very easy to do because we have a kind of like an inner model of the world. We all know what a tree looks like, but it's like a generic tree, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Jim, I live in a world of palm trees. At one point I sent a picture of 4 different palm kinds just on my blog. I think there's something like 189 different species of palm tree.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I like king palms. They're the ones with the big bulbs at the bottom where the trunk is like a big bowl, and then they explode in a frond.
Yes.
Yeah?
I've seen those,
They're the ones that people decorate up with lights that they really shouldn't decorate up with lights because when they're decorated it looks completely different. Hey from Denmark, just tuning in, got some foam board building on the go. Nice one, matey. Hardboard, is it good for bases? It is if you can work with it. It's probably one of the best materials. Yeah, although Jeffrey's saying hardboard will warp if you've seen it glue sprayed on. There's ways you can manage that. I've got a video on managing warping in the Back to Basics series. Yeah, so there are ways you can deal with that.
Trick is to do the same thing on both sides of it.
Yeah. Jason's saying, Fred again, he's becoming a regular. Well, he's downstairs and he was helping me in a video, so yeah, he's a bit of a regular now. It's part of the gang, it's part of the furniture. Hey Mel, could you make a volcano as a project? I'm actually doing that right now. Not a volcano, but I'm doing a volcanic build. Yeah, so videos with that will be coming out probably in a couple of weeks.
That's interesting, yeah.
So volcanoes are definitely on the way. How do you feel about the game The Walking Dead All Out War? That's one of Ronnie's, isn't it? I had a demo of it at the Warlord Open Day. Not last year, year before. It played really well. I liked it. Have you seen the film Have you seen Walking Dead?
No,
it's a zombie one.
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
It's a zombie program. The game runs quite nicely because you run as a zombie gang. As a gang, in the apocalypse, and you don't control any of the zombies, and depending on what noises you make, you can attract them. So you try and attract them to your enemy's gang and bring the trouble their way, if you know what I mean. It's quite a nice little mechanic on it.
That's interesting,
189-ish species. Will you be doing one of each, Mel? No. See, in truth, there's very little variation between a lot of the species. A lot of them are very similar.
Yeah, they are. Yes.
And it's only subtle variations that change them.
Here's 189 I prepared earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's always a little bit of red in the green of anything that's foliage, almost invariably.
Well, that'll be down to that'll be down to chlorophyll.
Yes.
Not chloroform, chlorophyll. I think his head would explode. Yeah, my head would explode if I tried to do that. Patrick's saying, have you tried melting plastic bags together to make a plastic card base. It's a huge money saver. Use standard iron wax paper to melt the plastic bags together.
That's an interesting idea.
That is interesting.
Wow.
Iron, wax paper and plastic bags. I could see the logic in that, because you'd iron it flat. Once it was plastic, it wouldn't warp for buggery.
Yeah. Plastic's inert, yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to watch what glues you work with. Depending on...
Oh, that's true, yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? PVA might struggle sticking to plastic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you could very easily give it a quick filler cover. And filler's really good at giving a coating that PVA and other glues and paints will stick to.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of putting down a coat. If I'm doing something that I know, if it's plastic, quite often I'll give it a watered down coat of a filler.
Yes.
Because it'll leave a slight rough texture to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It provides a key.
Yeah, exactly.
The subsequent layer can key into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, there's proper words for it and everything. Love what you do, Mel. Keep it up, mate. Thank you, Chris. Remember, guys, if you do like what I do, links down below to support the channel. I'm rubbish at that sort of stuff. I'm no ninja. There's a guy that does computer gaming. Yeah, he's called Ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched this program about him, and he was saying, just for a shout out, shout someone's channel out, $10,000. I'm here shouting out for send us a quid. And he gets $10,000 for a shout. If he plays a game, it's $30,000 for him to play your game for an hour online.
Wow.
We're in the wrong game, mate. We need to dye our hair blue like ninjas, and start playing computer games.
Right.
If we could. I've been saying, where'd you get all your materials from? Oh, all over the place. Yeah, that's the thing with this hobby. There are certain suppliers, scenic suppliers and stuff like that, but you end up spending more time in hardware stores and craft shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It does depend on how thick you want your makeshift plastic card. For a standard grocery bag, 16 bags makes it fairly thick. Well, I mean, grocery bags aren't a problem in Britain, even with our 5p bags. That hasn't stopped anyone. Did you know the bag for life?
Oh yeah.
Do you know you've got to use them like 400 times until it's actually better for the environment?
That doesn't surprise me, yeah.
With how complicated and the energy that goes into making them.
Yes.
So the majority of the bags for life are actually detrimental to the environment.
Doesn't surprise me, and they're not bags for life either, because after a year or two they
knacker.
Yeah, they get holes in. The seams go on them.
Yeah. Bag for life.
I don't know. The intention is a good one.
Yeah, the intention is a good one, but it's just good marketing.
Yeah, they do say that in the centre of the Pacific there's about 3 or 4 just square miles of nothing but plastic.
It's bigger than that, Kerry was telling me.
Is it bigger now?
Yeah.
Just nothing but floating plastic, and a great big... all the currents all carry it to one place. In the
it's like a central pool, don't they?
Yes.
Currents do that, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Play EverQuest. What's EverQuest? I've been using Walmart bags and using basic crazy glue. Bond is amazing. Nice one, I'll give it a go. Yeah, if you have to plastic card. Also EPVC. Yes, sign makers. Every time. Sign makers have tons of plastic card. So it's a good supply for various thicknesses. Patrick, heat and super glue can be crazy. Yeah, never hit super glue with hot glue. Ever.
No.
It vaporizes the super glue.
Yeah, because it's spirit based, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the glue sticks to anything that's got moisture on it, like your eyes. Yeah, I blinded myself for 2 days.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just because I hit a blob of wet super glue with some hot glue and just couldn't see it. Took about 3-4 days before it stopped feeling like my eyes were sandpaper.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I've only ever done that once. Are you any good at actual playing wargaming, Mel? Like Bolt Action or Warhammer? Define good. That's the key point here.
He's better than me.
Yeah. I'm not going to be winning any trophies, but I do like to game. I do like to play. It is a bit weird with this terrain shooter stuff. I always thought I'd end up playing more, but I seem to play less as the terrain shooter than I did as just Mel.
When I was wargaming, I spent, I'd say 85% of my time painting the figurine.
Mate, I'll
and
tell you
doing
what.
the terrain.
Yeah. To be truthful, that's pretty much the same. We've got the hobby is full of people whose main hobby is just building the armies. They very rarely play.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
It's very time consuming if you've got 200 or 300 to paint.
Coat the hardboard with plastic bags to prevent warping. That would be interesting.
That could work, yes.
Did you have to go to hospital? No, I've not had to go to hospital. Kerry's on her way up to go see how her dad is and that sort of stuff. So, no doubt I'll hear in the next hour or so. They've let her out of work early, so that's fine.
That's good. What happened with the glue? Did you have to go to hospital about that?
Oh, with the glue?
Wires? Yeah, yeah.
To be truthful, I didn't. Because I could still open my eyes and that sort of stuff, and I was a bit arsey, and I should have. But it was like, no, I'm just going to tough it through. That's part of my problem half the time. I think having medical knowledge is dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of the time you just, no, I know better.
You don't worry.
I'm not worried
as much as most people.
I know what this is. I know it will sort itself out.
Yeah. The body has very great self-healing properties, actually. Most people underestimate how great one's healing properties are.
Assuming it's not compromised and you're doing it right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's nothing mechanically broken, literally like a bone or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That,
you know, but it's a good piece of engineering.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Beautiful. They're coming along. Risk it. What, eh? George, the blinding thing's happened to several folks. Just don't. Jimmy, I was at my local charity shop today and bought 2 plastic Christmas trees. I'll be cutting them up for cheap gaming trees. Very nice.
Yeah.
I much like Commissioner Gamza and hit the rubbish bins for all manner of broken stuff. Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah.
What you call it?
Go skip diving.
Trash terrain is pretty good. What you call it? Car boots or garage sales or yard sales. They're great for picking up. I think I like car boots over the idea of a yard sale because a yard sale is just one.
Yeah.
Whereas a car boot is like hundreds of yard sales in one field, isn't it?
Yeah. That's certainly true. And it's amazing how many things you can actually pick up and repurpose.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, that had a different use before, yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Playing wargaming is not about being good, it's about having fun and being a good sportsman. To be truthful, that's how I play.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not a competitive player. My lists are very rarely competitive. I mean, for God's sake, I took Chindits. They don't have tanks. Yeah, so... But I like the narrative of the game. I like the storytelling. And I like the moments. A bit like when we were playing tanks. We've got that situation of we've got the Panzer chasing the Sherman around that building.
Around the building,
yeah, around the building.
Just recently I was watching a programme, was it Combat Dealers? It was something like Combat Dealers, where they actually had a client who wanted to buy a World War II Japanese tank.
Right.
And they had to scour virtually the entire world to find one.
Yeah, I bet they're a rarity.
They're extremely rare because so many of them were destroyed because the Japanese didn't make terribly good tanks, I'm afraid, during World War II. So,
well, the thing is, the Japanese tanks were only ever designed to go up against infantry.
There was infantry sport, yeah.
At the end of the day, there were no real tanks for them to go up against until the Shermans started turning up and landing on the beaches.
Yes.
And then, the Japanese tanks just got tore apart.
Oh yeah, they weren't up to it at all. No. They, like you said, they were just infantry support. Really.
Yeah, well, I mean that. But,
light tanks, really.
But that was the way of the war for the Japanese. Whereas from our side, I mean, Hitler came along with Blitzkrieg, didn't he? It was armoured warfare.
Yeah, that was a British idea, by the way.
Was it?
I'm afraid so. Yeah.
Easy.
we came up with that.
Goddamn Hitler.
The Germans stole it.
Just let me have a read of some of these comments. Yeah, have a look at different things. Stopped asking when I want them to save things. Yeah, what you call it? I get this random thing where I'll be on the schoolyard and random parents will come up and go, I've got some white polystyrene, do you want it? And I have to tell them I've got a what you call it? a shed full of polystyrene, literally full. Yeah, I don't need any more. Also look out for home renovators, builders throughout, lots of material used for scenery making. I'll tell you what, I'm waiting for them to re-insulate some of these buildings. Yeah, because I'll tell you what, when they do, the amount of free foam I'm going to get from round here is going to be phenomenal.
There's also places called scrap shacks. I don't know if anybody's heard of those. They recycle stuff.
Do you play Warhammer? I used to. I mean, Warhammer was, you know, the game of my childhood. Yeah, and I played 40k well up into my early 30s, mid 30s. Yeah, but I sort of drifted out of it when the kids were born. Just not enough time and that sort of stuff. And Warhammer's one of these games that it's great if you stay in it, but if you get left behind, it's quite a big catch up.
Yeah.
Rules wise, models wise, game mechanics wise.
It's an evolving thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and so when it came to deciding whether to, you know, get back into Warhammer, you know, I looked at other games, and I'd played Bolt Action, which is, you know, the World War II one.
I've seen the book, yeah.
And Bolt Action was written by the guys who wrote Warhammer. So there's a lot of similar things, but there's also a lot of things in it that they wanted to do with Warhammer that they didn't. And so I enjoyed it more. So I went down the Bolt Action route. But I'm not against Warhammer or anything like that. I haven't got the time or the money to get properly back into it. If that makes any sense.
Well, it's an investment as well, isn't it, once you get involved?
Okay. It's a serious cash investment.
Yep.
And Warhammer's a bit of an arms race, you know what I mean? So you have to sort of scale up your models. You have to get back in. So it's a big layout.
Yeah.
And to be truthful, I mean, no wargaming is cheap.
No.
Yeah, but Warhammer definitely isn't cheap.
Yeah.
Kez text me. Nothing is yet. Those of you who want to play war games, you don't need groups or rules. My brother and I used to just sit out our little plastic trees and some old boxes of terrain. We played on the floor for cheap G.I. Joe. Yeah. That's how I started.
Yeah.
I started like that. What you call it? I started with my old little, like, you know, your Green Army men.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah, making terrain for that in my mum's craft shop.
Yeah.
But that's how I started. I think rules and clubs certainly do help the hobby. I mean, the hobby's come a long way from just having a bit of a bash with your toys on you know, the floor. I mean, we've got international tournaments now.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I would have started off with Airfix originally, Airfix soldiers.
Little Hart came up with the idea of armoured warfare methods. The Germans used this as the basis for the Blitzkrieg.
You're right, yeah.
So was he a Brit, was he?
Who
was he?
Yeah, he was a divisional tank commander, I believe. There was somebody else as well, a fellow called Fuller. I can't remember his first name. And
is that the same guy as Fuller's Earth?
No.
Different Fuller?
No, yeah, it's a different Fuller. Major something or another Fuller.
Right.
And he wrote a book in the 20s.
Major Fuller. Oh, he got shit.
In the 1920s about tank tactics. And Heinz Guderian, the German tank specialist in the 1930s, read the book. Stole half the ideas and called it Blitzkrieg. Yeah. So it was a British invention that the British never used, and then the Germans used it first.
A bit like concentration camps, then.
Well, I hate to say it, but yes,
yeah.
Those as well. I'm afraid.
We shouldn't put that one in a book either.
not one of our finest hours.
No.
Yeah.
They always think of the concentration camps. Don't remind them the British invented them.
Yeah, during the Boer War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were a douche. Bolt Action. I'd get several armies for 1,000. Yeah, you'd. That's it. Someone gave you £1,000. Would you go to Warhammer or Bolt Action? Oh, if someone gave me £1,000, what, to spend on an army? Do you know what? I probably would go for Warhammer if I had £1,000 and I could only spend it. Because you could go for Bolt Action, but the problem is, if you went for Bolt Action, you'd be painting models forever. Yeah. At least with £1,000, you could go big, get a really nice, Warhammer army. My own money, I'll go with Bolt Action. I'm driving a car that's not even worth £1,000. I'm not buying an army that's worth more than my car. I just can't do it at this point in my life. Not because I don't want to. What plaster do you use? Cristacal. Yeah, that's my favourite plaster. Cristacal, you'll know Cristacal, won't you?
Not familiar with that, no.
It's a slip. It's a casting powder for making slip moulds for firing glass.
Oh right, yeah.
So it survives the temperatures for glass firing.
Glass firing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like 100 times stronger than plaster of Paris.
Plaster of Paris, yeah, which is brittle, isn't it? Fragile.
Yeah, I mean Cristacal, it's like rock.
Really?
Yeah. And the best thing about Cristacal is it cures in 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, I was very impressed with that Artex that you showed me actually for the water textures.
Oh, that came out all right.
Artex, I thought worked brilliantly actually. Yeah.
You can't do that with Cristacal because it's too liquidy.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, but Cristacal, I mean, the toughness is ridiculous.
Well,
and not just that, it's lightweight and. In fact. There you go. That's casting Cristacal.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So lightweight.
Yeah, it is light. Actually, it's a lot lighter than plaster of Paris.
Yeah, but it is so strong. It's ridiculous.
Sounds like a house brick.
Mel. Tom was asking about the cracked earth technique. Where's Tom? Tom, what plaster do you use for cracked earth? What plaster do I use for cracked earth? I use filler for cracked earth. Cracked earth isn't so much a material; it's a drying technique. What you need to do is you need to make a slurry, a mix like a watery paste of filler and water. Lay it where you want your cracked earth, okay? Then go over the top and hit the top with a heat gun. So it dries while it's still wet underneath.
Yes.
And then get your hand and just gently crack it, okay? Because it will crack.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what happens is, as the volume reduces underneath through evaporation, it separates and the cracks come through on the cracked earth. And it looks. Yeah. Well, the thing is, that's exactly what happens with mud.
Yeah, I suppose it was.
Mud is a slurry of earth and water. Yeah, it gets baked by a top, so the crust gets solid.
Yeah, it's wet underneath.
Yeah, and then as it reduces more volume, it cracks and it separates apart as it sinks down.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. The technique for getting cracked earth is exactly the same technique that the planet uses for getting cracked earth.
Yeah.
We just use a bit of filler,
Well, but interesting, yeah.
We just handle it that way, guys.
You can buy a proprietary crackle liqueur.
Yeah, you can get crackle medium, can't you?
Crackle medium, yeah, which will basically break up any paint surface or anything you apply it on, I believe. I've never tried it. I don't know if it works.
I've seen it, and I know you can. Games Workshop sells some very small, like 75 milliliter bottles of it for like £3-4, and I'm like, I'll buy some crackle medium and make my own, mate.
I think Jackson's Art Supplies in North London sell it.
Yeah.
In larger bottles than that. Yeah, I don't think it's that expensive. I don't
No, it isn't. But then again, I mean, when you go to the actual art shops, a lot of the stuff that we use isn't that expensive. It's just
It's one of those things. Sometimes if you buy a larger bottle, it only costs the same amount as a smaller one.
Yeah, super duper deal. Okay, right. People are chatting. Numbers are up. So looking like a better show this show.
Nice one.
Notifications are slowly working a bit better. Thank God. I'm slowly working through these, and I might have just enough green. I suppose you don't have the problem with your paints drying out with using oils, do you?
I do actually, to a certain degree, yeah. Because if you're doing a large painting, let's say a large area, expansive, complicated painting, you have to find ways to break it up into day-sized bites. If you know what I mean.
So you can work on it and let it dry, and then
because even oil paint sometimes can dry overnight to the degree that the next day you can't just pick up on it.
Right.
You'll have a hard edge there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's only touch dry, but that's still actually the most dangerous stage to paint up to.
Yeah.
Because then you get a sunken in line there.
Yeah. We get similar things. When I was mentioning about with the filler,
Mm.
yeah, when you put a base coat on, it can reactivate it.
Right.
Yeah, so your paint can look dry, but the filler underneath is still damp.
It's still, yeah.
Put a brush through it,
Yeah.
you get a white streak straight through it.
That happens a lot with oil paint, yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone played Spectre Operation? I haven't, but I've heard it's good. Okay, so not critical for getting cracked earth, but filler. Polyfiller. Yeah, polyfiller will do it. Just mix it into a slurry, hit it on the top with a heat gun, get that cracked, crack it up, then just leave it naturally to dry. Fred, do you have any recommendations for a good yellow ink? Something similar to the old Citadel yellow ink. I've got that somewhere. Yellow inks. What do you recommend? If you are after, what do you call it? Cote d'Arms manufacture the inks for Citadel, and you can still get all the old Citadel ink colours from Cote d'Arms if you're after that specific one, CJ.
There's a range of bottled inks that you can buy. Martins, Martens.
Right.
Martins inks. Those are like tinted India inks, so they're permanent. They won't fade or anything like that.
Oh, these are De La Rowley.
Yeah, that's a roundy one. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got yellow in that.
So there are a few brands of bottled inks out there you can buy, which some of them are very good. But the Martins is very good.
What's that? That's brown, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at the separation on that.
Oh, they always separate. Yeah, we always have to give them a good shake before you use them. Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing news. Yeah, CJ, what do you call it? GW, they got all their paints were basically rebranded at the start, the Citadel paint. So all the original Citadel range you can buy from a company called Cote d'Arms. So Cote as in jacket, D as in DE, and then arms as in, you know, yeah. If you go out, they still trade, they still sell and that sort of stuff. I bought from them a couple of years ago. If you actually ring them up and say you're after the Citadel yellow or you're after this particular colour, they'll tell you which of their colours you're after, because they know they get that many requests from old painters who was after the old paint range.
Yeah. I've had Jackson's in North London, Farley Place I think they're in North London. Jackson's are very good for anything like inks, because they have like whole ranges of them and 3, 4, 5 or 6 different brands, you know, so you can...
You must love a proper art shop then.
Oh yeah, wonderful, yes.
I remember when I was physioing, there's a bookshop in London, a really famous one, and it's over, so a single building, and every floor is something different.
Is it near Leicester Square?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah.
I've been in there, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I went to the medical floor.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the medical, the science floor. Yeah. Oh, the books in there. I've got this big thing for books. I like books.
I like books as well, yeah.
You know what I mean? But my medical collection, my medical books, I gave them away in the end. There's probably thousands of pounds worth there, and I ended up just giving them away to someone who needed them.
Yeah.
But beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Right, I've done that one, these two to do. Cote d'Arms is hard to get in the States. Is it? Right. I did a video on Spectre Ops, and I have another one. It seems to have updated and added new models. Right. Thank you for Kat for drawing attention to my query. No worries, Tom. Kat's good at that sort of stuff. Yeah, yes, if you go to Warcolours Nostalgia 88, if you want decently priced old Citadel paints, you can still get them. They're out there. I have a big drawer. Of all my old paints. There's paints down there that are 20 years old.
Yes.
And I will not get rid of them.
No, don't, because they're always going to be usable.
How do you, with your acrylic paints and when they dry up, how do you reactivate them? What do you put in them? Is it just water, or do you put a medium in, or what?
I think you can reactivate them with a little bit of acrylic medium.
Yeah.
I've never tried doing it actually. I usually just throw them away if they dry out. I usually use them before they do actually.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
But and don't forget, most of my work's in oil, so I don't use acrylics an awful lot. But yeah, acrylic medium, polymer medium of some kind should break it down and start getting it going again.
So just get in with an acrylic medium, give it a soak, and then break it down, give it a mix.
Yes, yeah. So I think acrylic medium would be the best thing to use, because the paint itself has acrylic medium in it, obviously. So you know, it's just putting more of the same thing in there.
In Buxton, I think there's a 5-story bookshop. Oh, mate, George, I'll tell you, this place in London, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was like a department store on every floor. And the books, they were piled out so haphazardly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was literally just piles of books in the floor. You just had to go along looking through these piles of books for books. That was one of the highlights of my trip to London.
There was nothing like finding a good bookstore. Yeah, Andy was telling me about one just near here, actually, I need to go to.
Well, trying to find a medical one, or one that did sports medicine, was really hard because all the sports medicine books were American.
Really? Yeah.
So trying to find those in a British medical bookstore was really hard. Yeah, but if you found a decent sort of one that did like sports science and stuff like that, they normally carry a lot of the American athletic trainer and physical therapy books. And they were brilliant. But those guys were way ahead of us on orthopedics and trauma. Future floor wax and water makes a monster reactivator. Future floor wax gets thrown into all sorts of stuff. I'd like to know what it is chemically in that makes it so good. Because you do keep hearing it coming up as washes and all sorts.
I've not heard of that.
No, it comes up loads in our game, mate. Loads of people recommending it. Ex-forces don't need medical books. Just take 2 ibuprofen and contact the doc in the morning if the symptoms are still there. Are you trying to dumb down my medical training, mate? I'll tell you, combat medic is more than issuing a couple of Brufen. There's bandages as well. What's going on there? It's an acrylic floor wax. So it's got an acrylic medium in it.
That's interesting. Yeah, so that's going to be compatible with acrylic paints.
Yeah, so no wonder it works perfectly for washes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's all of them done. So all of my little palm trees are now done. And we've just got to go in and tackle those over there.
Looking good.
Those look like coconut palms, to be truthful.
Yeah, they're a different shape, aren't they?
Yeah. So these are my next palm trees to tackle. I could do with a bit of a light coming down from there, so I get, because I think this is catching on shadow.
Oh yeah.
Because the light's there
it's
and
backlit.
there. Yeah, it's backlit.
Yeah.
So I think for live shows in future, we might have to rig a light up there.
I've got an angle push to bring it up.
No, we'll be all right for this show, and I've got lights, but it's one of those that I need to. If I do it, I've got to rebalance all my cameras and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I've got to wide balance all my cameras and my exposure. So every time I mess with light in here, it's actually like, right, do something, check.
Major refit.
Yeah. It's not a quick job.
No.
Future in the UK is pledge for floor wax. Right. If a band-aid doesn't cure it, it's serious. I don't know how I did it. Somehow I cut my ear this morning.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it. But I woke up with blood running down after I'd had me shave and everything. I'm not shaving my ears. But for some reason... So pledge, it's a good flow improver. I need to pick some up. I don't use it. For my flow improver, I'm still using me Winsor Newton. I bought a bottle for £8 5 years ago. I'm halfway through it. You don't need much of that stuff.
Do you ever use anything like beeswax? Any kind of wax for? Anything?
I avoid waxes. And because we use that many different mediums. You've got to be careful of what will react and what won't react.
Right, yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so waxes, they're not the best, to be truthful. You can get some weird results with them. Yeah, I used this snow spray once. Sprayed up this piece, snowed it up, looked beautiful. Sealed it with a varnish. Then put it on the table. And this beam of sunlight came in and just chipped through through the slats of the blinds.
Yeah.
And in the exact stripe where the sunlight had been, it melted the wax clear.
Oh.
Yeah, so it took the snow off it underneath the varnish.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now, whenever anyone mentions wax, I'm like, no.
No, yeah.
I'm not touching those.
Yeah.
Have you read The Silmarillion? They may make it a movie. Yeah, I've read The Silmarillion. The Silmarillion was basically a book of notes put together, yeah, by Tolkien's son.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, what you call it, and it's like a prequel, setting up, for the Hobbit.
Yeah.
It's a hard read, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I've not actually read that. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't read like a book because it's put together from someone else's notes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the information in it, if you're into Lord of the Rings, it's great.
Well, after I read Lord of the Rings, I got very interested in another book that came out at the same time as Lord of the Rings, actually. Well, when Lord of the Rings was reissued, called The Worm Ouroboros. Have you ever heard of that?
Never heard of The Worm Ouroboros. None of you guys heard of that?
Yeah, The Worm Ouroboros. It was written before Lord of the Rings. It's an older book.
Must have big ears to get a 5-blade Gillette in there. I had to go for the 3-blade ones.
The trouble is with The Worm Ouroboros is it's written in Middle English. So it's written in old-fashioned English, so it's a bit tough to read.
Yeah, CJ screaming, keep Peter Jackson away from Tolkien's remaining. Has anyone gone to see Mortal Engines? That Cities on Wheels palaver. Has anyone seen it? Is it any good?
I've not heard about that, no.
It's one of Peter Jackson's new ones, and it's this idea that in the apocalyptic future, cities become mobile and go around eating other cities. It's rather bizarre.
Wow.
I haven't gone to see it, but I'm quite curious if anyone's seen it, if it's good.
No, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, everyone's saying keep him away from what you call it. I should use my Audible credits. I never use them. I get them free with Amazon, one free book a month.
Yeah.
And I never bother with them, which is silly. Was it Foyle's bookstore? Yeah, that was it. Foyle's.
Foyle's, that was it.
That was
I
it.
was trying to remember what it was called. Yeah, yeah.
The old family bookstore that's been there for donkey's
Been there
generation.
a very long time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the place, mate. Not talking about the movie. I saw the preview. Gary saying, yes, it's nice, but the language is weird. Witches, demons, and so on. They are not what you'd expect, right? Not seen Mortal Engines, only read the first 2 books. Surprisingly gory for youth books. I didn't realise they come from books. Mortal Engines is rubbish. You don't see much of the mobile cities eating each other. Right. I worked on it. Very sad that no one watched it. So Robbie actually worked on the film and no one watched it.
Oh.
Robbie, were you one of the model makers? I saw a video going round of the model making they'd done for it, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
So go on, Robbie, what did you do on the film, mate? Now we're all waiting for Robbie's answer. He's been putting the pressure. Everyone's like, oh. We used to have a huge bookstore, even by LA standards, and my kids would ask if we could go there just to spend the evening there. That'd be cool.
Oh, I've spent hours in bookstores. You can just get lost in there.
They're starting to do campovers in museums and stuff like that now, aren't they?
Oh, eh?
Yeah, for the spooky. It's ever since Night at the Museum, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That is sort of. It's mixed up the genre and that sort of stuff, but.
Yeah.
Compositing. What's compositing, mate? Is that putting the scenes together or layering it? I'm really interested. I've seen more. The story isn't exactly top of the line. Oh yeah. You see, I feel awful reading these comments now, knowing Robbie actually worked on the film. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm like, what's the film like? And everyone's rubbish in it, and I was like, I helped make that. Can you imagine it? And I was like, oh, oops, sorry. So you must know Peter Jackson then. Frederick Phillips R. It's Mrs. Fred. Hiya, Pat. Just going to say that the bookstore in London is called Foyles. It's heaven. Yes, we've established that. But yeah, we all agreed that we like that bookshop. Everyone's saying hello, Mrs. Fred. He's done rather well. We've got our job done for today, Pat, so he's earned his money.
We've been working hard.
And if we can get, I think, to get a regular video with you on the channel, I think I'm probably going to need another $81 patrons, because not all of them go for one video. Some of them support for multiple.
Okay.
About 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with those sort of numbers, that's enough to up it enough to make sure there's enough for you. Yeah, as well as me, you know, because I'd have to make another video.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can do a push, and when we get to that, we could make it a regular feature of a regular colours one once a month.
That'd be brilliant, yes.
Yeah, in the meantime, we'll just throw a few out there and see if we get a bit of interest.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it's gone really well. It's interesting. Taking 2D painting techniques and applying them to a 3D surface.
Yes.
You're enjoying that, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting challenge. It's something that, like you say, I started off doing a very long time ago, then got segued off into art college and then a career, and now it's coming back full circle to be able to apply what I've learned to what I was originally interested in.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make some 3D scenes for you to paint up, I think.
Be interesting. Like I said, I'd be very interested as well to do something where a diorama and a set piece where you can't tell where one...
Yeah, the backdrop.
The backdrop, sorry, and the diorama. So that,
if we use the same palette of colours, do you know what I mean? If we sat down and said, right, I'm going to make this terrain and these are the colours I'm going to use, and then you took those colours, those exact colours to paint the backdrop, it would be seamless.
Yeah, it could be done actually. I'm interested in finding ways of doing that, yes. Make an optical illusion.
Yeah, did it. George is in Bristol. Haven't seen that one. Great bookstore as well as Foyles. Haven't seen that one. Kez just messaged me. No. I'm waiting to hear from the wife, find out what's going on. But no, watchfully, I do like I like the smell of a bookstore.
Yes, yeah. There's a good antiquarian bookstore in Museum Street in London as well. That's worth checking out. They sell like old out-of-print books, that kind of thing.
Right.
And that would be an interesting one to check out for anything unusual, you know, subject matter wise, because they have all kinds of stuff in there. I can't remember what that one's called, but you can't miss it because Museum Street's only about 50 yards long.
Yeah. I did have a first edition Grey's.
Oh right, Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. That's one. Yeah.
And that cost me a fortune. I sold it.
Yeah.
Bought a car with it.
Mommy.
No, I mean it was a 5-figure book.
Yeah.
It was. This was back when I was teaching and I was doing the physio stuff and I was making good money, and it was a massive indulgence.
Yeah.
A massive indulgence. And once I bought it, I realised it's only the same book as I've got the cheaper copy next to it. Yeah. And I ended up selling it a couple of years later and buying a car, but first edition Grey's. No, Robbie, don't take it personally, mate. You're not in charge of the director's work. The only person who should take films badly are the writers, directors, and actors.
Yes, yeah. Well, loads of the directors, really.
Yeah. Although I've seen some bloody chronic acting, some really bad acting in my past.
It does vary nowadays, yeah. Well, it always has. I think in the past there were, in the old days they had bad actors as well, didn't they?
Yeah, of course they did.
They weren't all good, even in the golden age.
In the golden age. Right. When are you starting the castle, Mel? God knows. That's gone quiet, actually. I need to chase that up because the castle I'm talking to haven't come back to me yet.
What is that, medieval castle build?
Yeah. I was talking to Warwick Castle about building a large version. But with them being National Trust, because they'd like it's to go in the Great Hall.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the Great Hall gets probably through its doors probably close to 250,000 people a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and with it being the National Trust's biggest attraction in the UK, there's lots of meetings and lots of people who have to sign off before I can even like, yeah, right, let's discuss and we're interested in the idea.
Right, yes, you've got to go.
So I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting for that to come back before I can start the build. I may have to hire a new studio for it.
That would be an interesting project, though.
It'd be a hell of a project.
Yeah, fantastic.
Smelling new books is cheaper than doing hard drugs.
What's as good as the smell of a new car?
Yeah, Robbie. As long as you're proud of your work, mate.
Yeah, that's the
Everybody else's work, that's down on them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about films, there's that many people who work on them as well, and so disjointed.
Absolutely, yeah. I had a friend years ago. Well, he was my agent actually. He was also an author.
Right.
And he read the book that's got bought. The rights bought by a Canadian film director.
Right.
I can't remember his name now, but quite well known. And he bought the rights to the book. He started making alterations to the book.
Oh God!
The minute he got his hands on it, and the first run-throughs for the film that was sent back to my friend the author, he was absolutely appalled because it didn't bear any resemblance
to his book.
At all. No, to his book. No, it completely changed.
Poor bugger.
Yeah, but this is what happens when you change media. You know, you take an idea from a book and make it into a film. You have to make changes.
Yeah, you do.
To make it film friendly, you know.
I'm much more of a book person. I mean, I like films, don't get me wrong. But films don't hold my attention like books do.
If ever you read a book and then see the film, it's invariably not as good as the book.
Oh God, no. The film will never meet your imagination.
Yeah, that's it, because you build it in your mind, don't you, when you read the book? Whereas in a film, it's all right there, which makes the film a little bit more kind of ephemeral, really, because it doesn't make the same sense and impression that a book does, where you have to imagine the scenes and, you know.
Well, I'm just going to throw this one out there, very quickly. I'm taking Fred to Warhammer World next month. Yeah, we're going to go see Warhammer World, probably during half term. Yeah, because Corbin's off skiing with school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'll only have Willow. Yeah, so we can drag her along with us.
Okay.
She'll love it. She always does.
Yes, well, children always love anything to do with anything like that.
But if any of you are in the Nottingham or around the Nottingham area and you'd like to meet us and come join us or have a coffee with us at Warhammer World, you are very welcome. I will throw the information up onto onto Facebook and stuff close to the time and talk about it close to the time. But yeah, think about doing that. Go take Fred to go see the exhibition, go see some of the painted models of Warhammer World. That'd
be interesting. I'd like to see some of the how these things originate. Yeah, never been to anywhere like that.
It's a hell of a thing, mate.
Yeah.
Or as Mecca, as we call it. Yeah. What do you use as a palette? Me personally, I'll use either saucer. Yeah. These are acrylic sheets, acrylic plastic. These are good because you just wipe them down.
Right.
What do you use as a palette?
I went to a place where they sell glass, and I got some tempered glass.
Right.
Tempered glass about half an inch thick with milled edges.
Right, so nice smooth edges,
nice smooth edges. And I've had it for 20 years and I'm still using it, so it'll last a long, long time.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, it cost me about, I think, 20 quid or something for just a sheet of glass about 18 by 10 inches or something like that. But it's tempered and it's really thick, you know.
Yeah.
And it lasts forever.
So yeah, that's palettes for us. So why did you go for glass and not a white one out of interest?
Because you can change the colour.
What do you mean? You mean underneath it?
Yeah. I usually put a sheet of white paper underneath it to make a white palette.
Right.
But I could put a sheet of black paper or brown paper.
So you can see your colours on what undercoat you want to put them on.
Spot on.
While they're on the palette.
That's it.
Because it's glass and you can put the colour underneath.
Yeah. You can put the underlayer colour underneath the glass. Yes. Yeah.
Genius. Absolute genius. Right, I'm going to yellow these up a little bit more. Just because I've got the time. I've got a bit of green left. So I might as well.
They're looking good.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Oh God, is that coming out? George is going Warhammer World on the holidays because it's his birthday. People are still talking about Mortal Engines. Cleaning for moving, so just running this in the background noise. Alright, Odin, no worries, buddy. Not those films are based on tokens, but messing them up was unforgivable. I know. Bam bam, another little nugget from Fred. Yeah, I know. That's quite a nice one as well, to be perfectly honest. Come on. Ah,
Oh, there you go.
there you go, that'll be enough. I want to really lighten that up.
Yeah.
With the last of that green, just do a selective highlight on these. Yeah. The glass palette, what a thing. I know, glass palette, so you heard it here first. Yeah, get yourselves a sheet of what's your glass.
Tempered glass. Make sure it's tempered glass because it's the strengthened and reinforced, you know.
Right, so yeah, it's got to be tempered. Make sure the edges are milled.
Yeah, so you don't cut your fingers on them.
Yeah. Now remember, if you don't want to go out and buy any glass, yeah, if you've got any glass shelves, they're always tempered with milled edges anyway.
That's true. Yeah, you can use a shelf.
Yeah, so I'm going to be replacing these with one of my shelves out of there very soon. Yeah, and I'll be doing the Fred. So I suppose even if you've got a smaller piece of glass, you could put your colour on that and hold it over a model or something.
Yes, there's another thing as
So
well.
you can smear it over it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of applications for it. Yeah.
Oh, Fred, you can come again, mate. I'm going to have to throw Fred's, PayPal on the screen. Yeah, next show for these nuggets. Because every time he gives them to us, it's like, it's golden.
Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say.
Well, no, it's good stuff, mate. You know what I mean? And information like this, I think the biggest problem is the majority of people in this hobby, we're doing arts, we've got no arts training. You know what I mean? I mean, even to be truthful, I blame the wargaming companies a bit for this. They don't teach art theory.
No.
They manufacture every shade you need.
Yeah.
And they even manufacture your highlight and your shades in the colours.
Yes.
So there's never any need for
preset.
you to actually start mixing.
Right. Yeah.
And so, whereas I mean, over the past 2 years that we've been friends, my knowledge of colour has come on leaps and bounds. As I've watched you and listened to you and talk about mixing. I mean, just the oceans. There's no way you could get any of those any of those sort of colours we did for those 4 beaches using wargaming paints.
Right. Yeah. Because this way, when you mix up the colours yourself from just the basic base colours, then you end up with something that's unique.
Yeah, I don't think it's just that. I think it's also that element of the fact that you know what to put in there to get the effect. So when it comes to the highlighting and the shade, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of throwing red and green into a brown, you're not going to find that even as a pre-mixed colour in the department store.
No.
I mean, when we went today, we were looking at the colours, and you got one of those big display walls, with the colour swatches on. And they've got to be what? I mean, it was 10 by 10. There were probably 8 panels, 800 colours there,
easily, if not 1,000. Yeah.
And we struggled to find the exact colour to the stage that we'll get this and then we'll mix that.
Yes.
And that's with one of those graduated Pantone ones.
Yeah. You would have thought it would have just been cherry picking.
just cherry picking.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know.
No.
And I think that's the downside with wargaming, the fact that no one in wargaming teaches colour theory, no one teaches mixing. I mean, I'd never heard of desaturation or breaking the colour, which is ridiculous considering I'm a painter technically for a living.
Yeah, of course you are, you're painting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's tempered glass, glass plate. Wisdom is golden, it certainly is. But if the plate works, please do not take one out of the wife's one. Okay, why not? That's where I got mine from. Mel, they do touch on colour theory very briefly every now and again in White Dwarf. I know occasionally you'll get people touching on it, but when they touch on it, they present it as this sort of like, this is the mystic dark arts, of the hobby. This is if you really want to get into in depth, get into this.
Yeah.
Whereas in fact, colour theory is a piece of
Yeah.
it's so easy to do. And once you actually use a CMYK colour wheel, you're mixing. I can pick any shade I want by just dragging colours across the colour wheel.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people don't actually understand that with a proper colour wheel. If you take 2 colours on a colour wheel, you can get any shade that the line between those 2 colours, let me get my fingers. Those 2 colours. Any position, any shade between those 2 colours you can get by mixing various amounts of those two colours, and you could drag it along.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because you end up with things like, I've got a weird greeny brown here, and I'm going to add blue into it, and I'm going to drag it up here, and I'm going to end up with like a red.
Yeah.
And I know that's not right, guys. We're just throwing colours out there, but before someone goes, "There's no way you'll get a red like that, Bose." Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that sort of scenario.
Yeah, with custom colour mixing, you can end up with colours which are absolutely unique. I was looking at a reproduction of a Turner painting a couple of days ago of a landscape in twilight, and the colour of the sky he'd used, I couldn't describe what colour it was, because in the twilight the kind of colour gets neutralised, doesn't it?
Right.
And the colour he'd used, I'd have a great deal of difficulty replicating that mix. It was just absolutely amazingly subtle colour that he mixed for the sky.
Were you jealous?
I was extremely jealous. It's like, I've never mixed a colour like that before.
Everyone's talking what they got. Right now, I've probably got about 4,000 of guard. Yeah, I've never been to Warhammer World despite having 8,000 points of Blood Angels. Might be tempted to come. I have 3 weeks worth of holidays saved up. Be good to see you, Robbie. And George, if you ever end up at Spo Museum again, mate, throw me a message on Facebook.
Drop in and give us a call.
Yeah.
Give us a visit.
There's a good chance, yeah, you probably did see us. We probably passed you in the guard hut or something like that. Because there was a few workmen in there when we signed in this morning, about lunchtime, wasn't there?
Yes, there were a few people there, council people, yeah.
Loads of council people. It's a council site though, isn't it?
It's run by the council, it is, yes, yeah.
At the height of my 40k playing, I had 10k of Space Wolves. We played big games, yeah. Mel students spend 4 years learning colour theory. To be truthful, I did a video on it. It's half an hour long. Watch that video and your colour stuff will jump. Just the mixing and the highlighting. Just understanding how to actually use a proper colour wheel. Because everyone presents a colour wheel. Whenever they present a colour wheel, they always present it as a way of choosing what colours work well with each other.
Right,
you know, the complementaries, the split complementaries, the tertiaries and all that.
Yeah, complementaries is opposite.
Whereas for me, the colour wheel is more about, mixing. Yeah, exactly. Lower. Yeah, exactly. You know, so for example, if you chose that blue, and that green as a straight line, you could get that colour there by mixing so much of the blue and so much of the green. So any colour that's on the colour wheel, any shade, by figuring a line between two colours, two strong primary colours that go through it, you can work out your ratio of what you need to mix to get exactly that colour. Time and time and time again. Yeah. It's amazing stuff, to be truthful.
The nice thing about it, as well, is it makes you look at the world more.
Yeah.
Than you might have done otherwise, because you start analysing colour and analysing exactly what colour trees are, exactly what colour a sky is, exactly what colour the ground is.
I'll tell you what I've started doing, and that is weird as hell. You know, when you look at a field, I now see it as mid-tone, highlight and shade.
Yes, I know you start to see it as an abstract.
Yeah, I don't see the field, I can see the patches of light and the colour and the general variation of, that's the primary colour shade there. There might be variation due to the plants and the structures in it, but I can pick out and I can literally, it's weird, it's almost like, it's almost like it's a 3D topographical thing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm perceiving it in colour, and I can look over and I can see the shade, and I can see, and it's even weird because my brain can now tell me when the colour's wrong.
Yes.
You know, nature's throwing you a bit of a curveball by having like on an elevated point something that's got grass that's particularly darker.
Yes.
And where it should be lighter by my brain telling me, it's like, well, what's going on there? Different plants. You know, a broader leaf, a thicker grass. There must be moisture up there. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, sometimes you see a cloud in the sky, and I think to myself, if I painted a painting and painted the sky like that with that cloud in it,
no one would believe you.
People would say, that's not a cloud.
You
know, nature can be idiosyncratic, and that's the beauty of it, because you start to see those idiosyncrasis.
That's one of the problems with wargaming terrain. When you know, I'm saying that, you know, for years I've done it how wargaming terrain is done. Like the stylized version. Is the word I was going to use. When you start painting things normally and properly, people don't believe it. They look at it, it's like,
Yeah.
are you sure that's right, Mel?
Yes, yes. Things in nature are kind of unusual.
Yeah.
Quite often, yes.
Jimmy's still playing big games. Yeah, I used to love the big games. Mrs. Fred, Pat, I was thinking about flat glass cake plate. Not using it. Yeah, I imagine a cake plate will do well. You know you have a serious 40k habit when your main assault force comes with 5 Thunderhawks. Shit. Thunderhawk was this like model you could buy for hundreds of pounds.
I've heard of them. Yeah,
And they're rare as rocking horse droppings. So to
Really?
have 5, someone's got a bit of disposable cash there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, he built his own from plans he got online. All right then. I retract the disposable cash comment. I'm out of space as it stands. Oh, you can see, Jay. Is this a 40k channel? This isn't specifically a 40k channel, but it isn't a bolt action channel. When it comes down to the games, I'm a bit like Switzerland. I'm neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah, terrain is used for all the games, so I support all the games. The only games I don't support are those crappy board games because they don't come with terrain. I get a load of grief off the board gamers for that. And there's more good board gamers. There's about 10 times more board gamers than there is war gamers.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just that, yeah. Board gaming is far more popular with the opposite sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, far more popular than war gaming.
Well,
Yeah, a lot of girls play board gaming. Kai and his missus do.
Yeah.
They're both big into board games.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a younger generation. I think it's a kickback to the technology.
Yeah.
The ones that have grown up with the technology that we've just got used to.
Yes.
Yeah, their kickback as adulthood to get away from it is to go analog and go for board games
Right, I'm with you.
to relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we went to this convention called UK Games Expo, huge thing in Birmingham in June, July. Yeah. And we walked in and it's mainly board games.
Is that the NEC?
Yeah, NIA, National Indoor Arena. No, one of the hotels in Birmingham, but massive. Yeah, big event. And I walked in and pretty much every bloke there was with a woman. They were there as a couple.
Yeah.
And then there's me and a couple of mates who are war gamers. And it was just like, yeah, we're the geeks. We are definitely the geeks. I started with board game warfare. And then you moved on to terrain. Right, CJ. Cardcraft Group. Yeah, with models, you always seem to sell an illusion of realism, never realism itself. Yeah, we do. I think that's the case of... It's become so stylized that people expect it to be that way. Yeah, and so when you produce realistic looking stuff, quite often with terrain, you produce a realistic tree and people aren't impressed. You produce a stylized wargaming tree and they love it. Mel, you're a tart. Calm down, Leslie. I've been a tart in years. I'm a married man. Back in my army days, I was a tart. That's for sure.
So we're saying Waterloo is a good board game?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's River Horse, isn't it? They're a company that make them.
Not familiar with that.
Yeah, River Horse, run by Alessio. They do all sorts of board games and that sort of stuff. There is plans to make, I think it was the original Epic Thunderhawk. Is Kat off? Right, have a good time at work, Kat. She's going, I can have some fun now. Yeah, I'll get in trouble for that. Right, what are we on? We're on 9 o'clock now. I've got another 4 or 5 to go and then a bit of a chat. So we'll probably wrap this up in the next 15 minutes or so anyway, guys. One of the things, me and Fred have been at it. Well, I've been at it since about first thing this morning at home editing, then getting in the studio and picking you up. So it's been a long day for us. And I think by the time I finish this, with 15 minutes left, I don't really want to start anything else.
Right, yes.
You know what I mean?
Late, isn't it, now? It's
Yeah.
not anything new.
So
The trees are looking good, though.
They are. They're coming up really nice. Yeah, I will get a front light, so you guys can see that better. Yeah, even if it's just a little one that shines in front of that camera for when I hold stuff up. But yeah, I think that'll work.
They're really transforming.
It's a nice green, isn't it?
Yeah, that's looking extremely good.
This is his effect on me. Seriously, I can't put a colour down now without mixing something in it because of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know how hard it makes it for coming back and repainting it later when I've botched it up?
It's amazing how you get a feel for colour after a little while.
You
just
do.
It is the only way to describe it is a feel for colour.
It was amazing with those pieces that I could see the subtle greens and stuff in the brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once you started, it's like, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's a reason for it, so it kind of like makes sense. If you know
Yeah.
what I mean? You have to think through what the material is composed of.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
whether it's sand, silica and quartz, or whether it's, you know, alluvial deposits, which are going to be like mud and organic, kind of rotted organic material. You know, they're always going to have elements in the colour of what they originally were. If you follow me.
Right.
Bit like, you know, red leaves.
Well, it's the decay, it just darkens.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be quite interested to find out why decay darkens. Why it actually goes dark. Biologically.
I'm sure there's a reason for it, actually. Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking because anything like compost or
Yeah, it all goes dark, and it's not just the moisture content.
peat is almost black, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to hit up one of Kerry's old professors because she's friends with them on Facebook, and I'll ask them why specifically. Yeah, things go dark.
I'm sure there's a reason. Yeah, a chemical, biological chemical reason.
Catan is cool. Catan is cool. Played Star Trek version last year. The character cards were a good twist. With a lot of board games, popular board games, they theme them.
Yes.
See Monopoly, and you can get like Star Wars Monopoly
Oh,
and
right,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You know, you get Monopoly for London. You can get Monopoly for New York. You know, with the street names changed and different counters.
Yeah, yeah.
With a lot of popular board games, they do different versions. So, for example, Kerry's favourite one is that one Carcinone you've heard us talk about.
Carcinone.
Yeah, I think we talked about it once, but it's based on this French town, but it's called Carcinone. But you can get different versions, and we bought a Star Wars version, where it was actually planets and Darth Vader, same game,
right, yeah.
just different cards and stuff like that.
Was it based on that like medieval town in France?
Yeah.
It's got like
yeah,
a big castle,
yeah.
a wall town.
Carcinone.
Yeah. Oh,
Beautiful,
I
that
know
is.
exactly what you mean now. Yeah.
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 George, I live in California. It's just 1 p.m. No, you'll take payment from any game system. Hey, I'm not sure what that comment is. Right, I'm off to chat. And okay, have a good one, CJ. I started playing Command and Colours, but I forget up with a little wooden block, so we switched to them to 15mm figures, and the game looks far better. I can imagine that. Almost forgot the live stream. I got a game called Real Tree Monopoly game. Okay. Right, this is where everyone's correcting my pronouncing of Carcinone. Look, you know I pronounce and butcher words. I always have. I always do. I always swap them around. You guys are getting that good at it now that I don't even need to correct myself because you can correct me for me. So, can we stop pointing out my failures, please? I get enough off Kaz. That green over the brown looks nice.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. That's a very effective colour combination.
It's because the brown's actually got some of the green mixed in.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mixed the brown is that brown mixed with the green there.
Yeah.
So that there's a tonality in it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Tonality, have you heard me?
There you go. Yeah, it's amazing how once you start putting colours together and putting elements of colours together that have got elements of other colours in them,
it really does start to come.
You really begin to see interesting effects. Yeah, yeah.
It is quite startling, the effects you can get with this stuff. Quite startling. And I've got to say, I really am enjoying my adventures into colour.
Colour is a wonderful thing to be interested in, actually. I mean, the colours actually have a physiological effect on you.
Yeah, of course.
So, for instance, you have bright red, it increases your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Greens calm you.
Yeah, green's calm me. That's why fairy liquid is green.
Yeah, they say the most popular colour for everybody is blue because again it's a calming colour. It's
Is that right?
makes people feel tranquil and calm.
I mean, my favourite colour is green.
Mm.
If you couldn't have already guessed.
Yes, I like green as well. Actually, yeah.
I think that's probably got more to do with the army than anything else.
Mm. But green is a very tranquil, calm colour, though.
Yeah. It's very clean, healthy colour.
Yes.
Yeah, it's why a lot of hospitals and that sort of stuff go green.
Yes.
Well, I mean green colours in hospitals because it conveys health.
Yeah. I was actually in a NHS meeting when they first built the new oncology department at Stoke University Hospital. There, they had an open forum meeting open to the public.
Yeah.
And the gallery I was working with at the time were working with the NHS, doing installations of artwork in the corridors and everything.
Oh yeah.
So I went along to the meeting, and actually they were talking about colour schemes for the new oncology building, and I pointed out at this meeting that the floor in the building, in the room that we were standing in, was liver red.
That's good.
And I said, for a hospital, that's just the last colour you should do the floor.
Yeah, you're going to send the blood pressure up, mate.
The blood pressure's going to
You
go
did
rocking.
say Frederick Phillips, lifelong artist and a university lecturer, and that sort of. No, some bloke at the back from the public reckons the red. Can you imagine it? If someone came with that without actually giving your credentials, so
Yes.
the red, it's sending the blood pressure up. You can imagine the doctors going, God, what are we dealing with? No, actually, I'm an artist, lifelong artist, teacher at the university. Red sends your blood pressure. Really?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
Well, how many times do you see surgical gowns in red?
Long.
Well, no, actually, it's actually used to be a really common colour.
Oh, did it really? Yeah.
Hides the blood.
Hides the blood, yes. But that's when the patient is unconscious. That kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, but when they're walking round the wards.
And when they're walking down the wards, yeah, it's not so good. But yeah, the colour of the floor was liver red, and not only does it raise your blood pressure, but it actually raises your anxiety limits as well, your anxiety levels. So.
You didn't get a consult out of that.
Actually, they were very interested in what I was saying. I held the floor for about 3 minutes, and which was longer than anybody else did, and at that meeting. And they were actually very interested because I don't think anybody else had brought this up.
Well, the thing is,
it's
relevant, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it's relevant on the basis of look, this causes a physiological effect.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I mean, obviously.
And it's documented.
In an oncology department, you don't want anything that's going to increase people's anxiety.
No, of course not.
They're anxious enough before they even go in the building,
Well, it's not just that. Anxiety secretes cortisol. That'll switch off your immune system.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the thing you don't want to happen in an oncology situation.
Sure, yeah.
Right, I'll see you later, George. Have a good one, buddy. I have to walk to Leek tomorrow. Leek? Where are you walking from? No, you need to explain to Fred about the GW factions that are based on historical military periods. We'll do that next live show he's on.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
Yeah, GW, their entire IP is essentially nicked, from all sorts. Yeah. You've got everything from now understand, these are futuristic, genetically modified, superhuman space soldiers.
Yes,
yeah, you've got factions based on everything from Genghis Khan to the Romans,
Yeah.
and everything in between. The Genghis Khan, they're called the White Scars, and they ride around on motorbikes instead of horses.
Well, that's an update of what they would have had originally.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had, ponies, wouldn't they? Yeah.
We like to think of it as horses because if we actually think of it realistically, we know that they would have actually been realistically riding ponies. It's not as dramatic as Genghis Khan sweeping across the steppes on horses, Frederick.
I've always been fascinated by those composite bows they used to have as well.
Yeah,
they're incredible. Yeah, the laminated. Yeah, they'd put bone in there, sinew.
All sorts of stuff.
Yeah, to give it like that kind of flexibility.
I mean, the English longbow, and I mean that's a hell of a draw anyway. I mean, a proper English longbow, they reckon most people alive will never be able to draw.
No,
because we haven't got the musculature for it.
Yeah,
and by draw I mean draw the bow, the string, not draw it.
Yeah, in medieval times it was English law that every
Sunday,
able-bodied man. Every able-bodied
down
man,
the butts in the churchyard.
Over the age of 12 or 14, had to go down and do his archery practice. Yeah.
Did you know that they still have the butts in the churchyard in Oswestry?
Really?
Yeah, where they used to do the practice. They kept them specifically, and they never got rid of them.
Yeah, good heavens above. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it.
That must go back a long time.
Well, I mean, you're going back to pre-Civil War, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because Civil War was black powder, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So,
yeah, so I mean, going back to the English longbow, I mean, the English longbow was still around because, I mean, you didn't get rid of one technology that worked just because you had a new one.
Right, yeah.
You know?
There was an overlap.
Well, I mean, powder was expensive. You put it in your most useful troops, but you know, if everyone in your army can draw a longbow and everyone's got a longbow, well, you might as well send some arrows their bloody way, hadn't you? It's only the right thing to do. And now, what I want to do is just one final little bit more yellow on that one. Glad I'm a biker. You Genghis. Yeah, Geiger's aliens, their gene stealers. They nicked absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I want to just lighten this up just a little bit more.
I've got a really good book on Geiger. I'll have to bring it in, actually.
He does good stuff.
Oh, yeah, he was
bit
brilliant.
rude.
Erotic.
Yeah, he likes subtle it in there. He had a bar in Tokyo, didn't he?
I heard about that, yes.
Yeah.
It was all done a la Geiger on the inside.
Yeah, and the Yakuza just moved in and took it off him, and there was nothing he could do.
Right.
They just moved in, we're having this.
Yeah.
Right, so this very last, I'm really going to highlight this up just for this one. Yeah, I've got this one here. Yeah, it's coming together nice. Yeah, but I just want to find, because it's quite large plumage, there's room for an extra bit of gradation in there.
Yeah.
And then, I think, see, that's a bit lighter than that. See what you've done to me?
Yeah. A bit of dry brushing.
Yeah. See, he's learning the terms.
Yeah.
We're getting there. This is actually overbrushing, this isn't dry brushing.
Yeah. And quite often with painting, I'm sure everybody knows this already, but several thin layers is better than one thick one.
He sounds like Duncan, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There's a guy in Games Workshop who does their what you call it?
Yeah.
Their videos, and he's known as Two Thin Coats because that's his recommendation. Two thin coats.
Two thin coats, yeah.
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 And they did a video of them waiting to be open this new store for the 500th store, and they're sitting out in the rain. He says, "It's all right, I'm not going to get cold. I've got two thin coats." Two thin coats. The guy sitting next to him just turns to him and goes, "I hate you." Now that.
Excellent, that looks brilliant.
Now what I'm going to do so you can actually see it is I do have a light on my phone, and for a moment then I thought my phone was going to slip out and drop into the water there.
That would not have been good.
That would have been a true Mel moment. So I've got my light so we can actually, so there's my tree, and if I bring that up to get you some light on it so you can see it, yeah, you can see the variations in colours there.
It's looking good.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So, palm tree's done. Right, we are a step closer to the Burma build, and I'm a happier chappy. We are 9:15. Two thin coats, God. Yes, cheap plastic tourism. What game are they for? They're going to be for bolt action. I'm doomed with a Blood Angel army and my blood pressure. You are, mate. You want to go for a nice, calming salamander green. They're another faction. I'll explain those.
Oh, right.
What's the difference between overbrushing and dry brushing? Wetness. With overbrushing, you remove most of your paint, but it's still wet. So when you drag it over, that you deposit a lot more. Yeah, with dry brushing, you pretty much take most of the paint off, and what's left is dry. So you end up actually putting more like a powder coat on it.
Yes, like a frosting.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
There's a massive difference in subtleties between the two. Yeah, but essentially it's down to how much paint you've got on your brush. City of Hull grind media. Overuse wet brush. Dry only catches edges. Yeah, dry brushing is good for really catching the edges. Yes. You don't want to do that with anything less than a dry brush, because when you scrape over the edges, you're essentially scraping the paint off the brush, and it ends up pooling.
Yes.
So you can only edge with a dry brush. Yeah. Right, guys, I am going to call it now because I'm going to head home, find out what's going on with Kez and that sort of stuff. It has been, Jimmy, exactly. It has been an absolutely cracking show. I think PayPal-wise, I'll just check PayPal because I think we had a nugget at the start of the show, and I don't know if we've had any others through the show. We haven't had any on-screen announcements, but let's just very quickly check. Make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. Come on. And we've also had, what do you call it, a couple of nuggets from Vivian. So thank you, Vivian, as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, much appreciated. That's my kebab on the way home, but yeah, it'll be a small one, but I'm a happy chappy because I'm having a kebab. Right, to let you know what's going on the channel. Live show Sunday night. We've got a video definitely on Tuesday where me and Fred have been going through making the beaches. Look at that. It looks bloody good on there, doesn't it? Yeah. It really does. Yeah, so we've got those 4 beaches to show you. Yeah, that's on the video on Tuesday.
Right.
Thursday video will be headland. Hopefully next Tuesday's video, the Tuesday after that, will be painting headland. Yeah, and we'll see what we can fit in the meantime. Let me go to the main face. Yeah. So, it has been an absolute bit of a cracking show. Need to do a little bit more work with the screen and lights and stuff like that, but we're definitely getting back in the studio for the Thursdays, so my cat will be happy. Yeah, so, I will wish you all a good night. Listen, guys, look after yourself. I'll see you soon. Good night from me.
That's good night from me.
All the best, yeah. Ta-ra.
Have a good one.